If you have been into my office, you might have seen this image that I placed on top of my table. I placed a small sculpture of the Holy Family beside my table lamp to actually give it a little bit more of ambiance and proper lighting. You know, I was drawn and got instantly attached to this little sculpture of the Holy Family the first time I saw it. The miniature carving was stored and forgotten inside a storage room at my diaconate parish in St. Anne's Church in Fairlawn. Since nobody wanted it, I asked the pastor if I may have it, and he said yes. So I took the image with me, and now it's in my office. The sculpture is an image of the baby Jesus, deep and quiet, in deep, quiet sleep. The little baby Jesus is enshrined by the loving and caring embrace of the Blessed Mother, who was in turn enveloped by the fatherly protection of Saint Joseph. You might think that the movement of the sculpture ends there, but to complete the whole picture, we see the Blessed Family enfolded by the affection of Saint Anne and Saint Joachim, Jesus' grandparents. And it's actually the same. So there's a circular thing, a unity, love that they share. The artist of this sculpture is unknown. The material used for this sculpture is almost of zero value. I stumbled upon this image in a storage room. Nobody wanted this image of the Holy Family, but I wanted it. My brothers and sisters, what was striking, at least for me, is the theology and the meaning and the feeling that it provoked when I first saw this sculpture. If you can see, the child is helpless. The helplessness of Jesus, his vulnerability, seems to be the center of this work of art. If we took away the baby Jesus, and if we put him aside, the meaning of the whole structure will collapse. The totality of the image is sustained by the vulnerability of the child. The movement and relationships within this image of the Holy Family is contingent on the weakness and the helplessness of the baby. What is my point, and why am I sharing this with you? My brothers and sisters, I want to demonstrate the heart of the message of the feast we celebrate today. God so loved the world that he entrusted his only begotten Son. He entrusted himself to our care because he believes in the beauty and the sacredness of the human family. God continues to believe in our humanity. However, I have noticed that during this time of the year, we have actually tended to romanticize our idea of the Holy Family. We have managed, for example, to put the nativity scene out in the cold to beautify our front yard. We place the creche beside the sanctuary of our parish and admire the beauty of the creche. We might have even set them up under our Christmas trees of our homes or on top of our tables to add to the spirit of Christmas. All these things, my brothers and sisters, are good things, but that sometimes it might take us away from the real story of Christmas, especially when these things fail to bring us out of the trap of our own superficiality. then the Holy Family would become insignificant and irrelevant to our day-to-day living. They become just one of our many decorations. We forget that the Holy Family, my brothers and sisters, are like us. They were real people who had their own unique stories, real struggles, and their share of difficulties. Life for the Holy Family of Joseph, Mary, and Jesus was harsh. Think about it. They were forced out of their town and their own homes. They endured suspicion from their own people regarding Mary's pregnancy. Their first child was born under terrifying and uncomfortable, not to mention unsanitary circumstances. When we look at the image of the Holy Family, what do we see? Does the Holy Family somewhat remind us of our own circumstances, difficulties, and struggles? You see, my brothers and sisters, the significance of this feast of the Holy Family is crucial in the life of our own families. The Holy Family reminds us, even and especially today, that our circumstances and our preconditions do not and cannot define the sacredness of our families. What defines our family is the love, the trust, the confidence we share with each other, and our love for, our trust, and our confidence in God, who has chosen to become for us the vulnerable and helpless one dwelling in our families. We all have our share of struggles, embarrassment, hardships, and pain in our own families. The good news of the first Christmas is still the good news of today. Despite the difficult circumstances that we continue to experience in our family, despite the hard situations that we are facing with one another, Jesus, the baby Lord, is still willing to be born and be a part of our families and our day-to-day lives. God still places himself as the vulnerable and helpless one dwelling among us. You see, my brothers and sisters, God is present to us, even if it seems that he has abandoned us, because of his self-giving and life-giving silence. What we have to do is to open our hearts to this divine encounter, to behold the redeeming and loving presence of God, contained in and conditioned by the vulnerability of the baby child. The invitation of the Holy Family is to welcome this little tiny treasure of love into our families and our homes, even if the circumstances do not present to us as we have imagined and planned them to be. So my brothers and sisters, next time we look at the creche, may we never look at the Holy Family the same way again. Let us remember that beneath the radiance of the divine child in the manger is the shadow of the cross. The joy and the peace of Christmas is hidden beneath our struggles, our pains, and our daily sacrifices, especially the ones we experience with and among the people closest to us, that is, our family. Soon, we will put away all our Christmas decorations. My hope is that when we put away our creche at home, at work, or in our church, may we not bury the Christmas message along with the boxes we forget about in our storage room. Better yet, let us keep one image of the Holy Family in sight, the Holy year round, so as to remind us of the Holy Family's message and invitation to place the baby as the center of our day-to-day lives, to remain faithful to the plans of God, and to welcome him as a gift no matter what, to share God's love and forgiveness to others, to bring the hope of reconciliation to the people around us, especially to our families.